Hello and welcome! This Grim Reaper was a lot of fun to make, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did do something a little different, which I will announce near the end of the video, so stay tuned, watch the whole thing to figure out what it is. And let's get into it. So I want to do this one a little differently and have myself talking out loud, essentially, just talking about what I'm thinking. And maybe edit it in post. Don't know. We'll see. But for this one, well, first off, the Zombunny was really fun to do, right? And the Sculptober has a lot of prompts between the Zombunny, or I guess the zombie prompt, which was day 5, and this one, which I guess you all would already know what it is, which is Grim Reaper. And that one I believe is prompt 21. So from day 5, but I was late on that too, day 21. There's a few in between there that I wanted to do, but I wanted to give this Grim Reaper the attention that it deserves. So I wanted to spend more time on it, just that way I can get it right, because I have this vision in my head, and I did end up making using Pure Ref, I made like an inspiration board. So here it is. So I have a few varieties on here. I got some actual miniatures. These ones are gonna be for referencing folds of the cloth. So all these actual miniatures are basically just for referencing of how folds in cloaks. Maybe I could do what this is doing, where they're not necessarily wings, but maybe it's just extra cloth kind of flowing off of it. This one is where I really got my inspiration from. I wanted this to be like a tall figure and then have the cloak come down and touch the base, so that way it could be 3D printed. But I wanted the scythe to be coming down. I think I'll have mine come out a little bit, but have this kind of like dark, shadowy figure. And again, this is just more examples of like how the cloak hides everything and how it comes down. So just some other examples. All of these images I got from Pinterest, and this one is interesting because I like how it doesn't have eyes, and I think like these ones, it's just like a human skull, human skull, human skull. It's like, okay, well, is Death or Grim Reaper a human? Well, maybe, I guess, but I like this one because it's featureless, right? And it's just a huge mouth, like it's devouring souls. So instead of a Grim Reaper, it's like a soul devourer. Anyway, so this is my inspiration board. Really like it. It's awesome. This is gonna be very like covered in a cloak. I don't necessarily need to worry about like the lower half of it, for instance, because it'll just be like a cloak. But I could have that. Do I want long arms? So if I did have this being like a tall, lanky character, I want this to be 3D printable, so I have to make things a little bit thicker. If you are enjoying the video so far, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe, so that way you may be able to be notified for any future videos that I make. And I plan on making a lot more. so my thoughts right here are, do I want him in this pose to match that one reference that I really liked, or Control P object. Let me just get these things going so that way it's easier to move them around. Or should I have it be more like in a ready to fight kind of pose? He has his arm outstretched. Like that to show off his weapon. Actually, I do kind of like that idea a lot. And then in the reference image, the wind was kind of blowing this way, or at least the cloak was. So in this case, what I would do, because the scythe is already coming off this way, I would make the cloak come this way. And that way you see the intimidating scythe by itself over here. And you see just almost like darkness coming off this way, like flowing this way. Yeah, I like that idea. And because I don't have to worry about physique too much with like making sure the muscles are there, or I make the head correctly, even though I literally just did a video on like a head tutorial. So I would have cloak coming down. I will want to show like a hand right here, right? I would have a hood coming up, that featureless head just with the teeth comes down, comes this way. I could have like a little sash right here, comes to about right here. It's like little tendrils as well coming off of it, and then it comes back up, and then it comes up, and then I would have from the back, I would have more almost like tendrils. This would just be like the more wispiness from the cloak basically. Then obviously a much fancier scythe, some sort of, I don't know what they're called off the top of my head, but like pokey thing for the end of it, or a human skull at the end. That would be cool. Too much about the back of the head or even top, since I'll have that hood in the way, but I still don't want to make it too messy. That one. So normally, right, you would have eyes almost like in the middle of the head area. You'd have like, well, I guess since this is a skull, you'd have the nose like right there, and then you'd have the teeth right there. You would have your cheekbones. Alright, so that would be roughly the proportions of a normal head, but since I'm not doing a normal head, I'm doing a featureless head, I could have the teeth or the mouth like this big. Or even bigger, I could have it be like fully in the middle. That would be such a huge mouth. I like that. Okay. One just trying to flush out the shape a little bit. So the face will be one of the main things to notice. I think the things that I want noticed would be the scythe, the flowiness of the cloak, and the face. I don't really need any sort of other details or points of interest. Let's get working on what the teeth will look like. Back of the head looks bland, but like I said, it's gonna have like a hood on, so that doesn't necessarily matter. But I do like these extra details that I'm putting in right here for the head. I wasn't planning on doing these, but then it looked very bare, and so I decided just to mess around a little bit, and I added just some shapes really quickly, and they just started to look pretty cool. So I'm keeping them in. I said I don't have to necessarily worry about physique. I do still need to know like the general proportions, since this is going to be humanoid. But I would still like general proportions as far as the body shape.
About halfway through, I ended up not commenting on what I was doing when I was sculpting. But I figured at this point, there wasn't really much else to comment on. Here I'm just getting the flowiness of the rope / mist sort of vibe that I was wanting to go for. And then from here, it was just redefining and making it look just better, I suppose. Carving the indents deeper, making the folds come out a little more, just things like that. Because this is a Grim Reaper, I decided that adding an hourglass would fit the scene and also the character itself. And I'm really happy with how the hourglass turned out. I wanted the hands to be skeleton hands. I figured that would add more to the aesthetic of this being a Grim Reaper. And instead of just doing the basic 5-finger hand, I decided to make it a 4-finger hand just to make it a little different as well. Next, I needed to do something about the scythe. It has been an eyesore for a while now, so I decided to work on that next. I didn't want the scythe just to be a straight shaft. I wanted it to be curved to give it more of that scythe aesthetic. So I made the shaft kind of more like an S shape. And since this is a Grim Reaper, I definitely needed to make the blade more intimidating instead of just a simple scythe. It needed to have a few various sharp areas. Also decided to throw in some bones as well, just to add a little bit more to the aesthetic of it being a Grim Reaper. And it definitely needed a human skull on there somewhere. So I did just that. Except it's not a complete human skull. I did not add the jaw to it. And then it's just a matter of adding more details to it to make it less bland, adding some wood texturing, and also the wrapping for the handle area. And then nearing the end of it, it's just a matter of posing the bony fingers to actually hold the handle, to hold the scythe. And then just adding some final details here and there, and that's pretty much the end of it. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I did something a little different and to wait until the end of the video to find out what it is. And it's this. I 3D printed it. Now, it's not that exciting, honestly, but to me, creating something in Blender and then 3D printing it was exciting for me. And if you've stayed until the end just to hear that little bit, I am very appreciative and thank you so much for doing that. This was a lot of fun to make and I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't so far, please leave a like, subscribe, and also watch some of my other videos. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.